Hi you guys, welcome back. And in this video I wanted to talk about why we pick the partners we choose. Now, many of you will say it's based on attraction or it's on the chemistry, but the reality is, although those things are important, it's based on our upbringing and what we're familiar with. So we're motivated by two factors, and it's pain and pleasure. So we'll always move towards what we perceive as pleasurable and move away from what we perceive as painful, okay? So I want you to go ahead and think about your upbringing and what it looked like. And if you're having problems with toxic relationships, codependency, choosing the wrong partner, take a look at your upbringing and the dynamic between your parents. So if it was a healthy dynamic and they both had healthy self-images, more than likely you'll attract individuals that mimic this relationship. Things can influence it, like society, your own personal experiences, the images that we are shown, how women should be, how men should be. If you want more of that, you could go look at the masculine and feminine energy videos that I have posted up. But going back to why we attract the individuals or the partners that we attract, looking at your upbringing, especially if it's toxic relationships, I want you to look at the pattern first and kind of go back to all the people that you ever dated and look at that pattern. And what was the common denominator, the common thing, or the common theme that they had in common? Was it like all of them cheat, or I'm not worthy enough, or I'm not a priority? Where was this belief formed? It was most likely a belief from your upbringing, from one of your parents or your caretakers or your guardians. It was one of their beliefs that you adopted unconsciously. Maybe it was constantly seeing their behavior. This is why we attract certain scenarios. So we're looking at their relationship and we're mimicking the dynamic. So you attract, or what you think is the spark is your intuition saying, hey, that's dangerous, okay? But you're confusing that spark as a connection, as attraction, that you're in love, right? But that's false. That is your intuition going off and saying this person is dangerous for you. But you're confusing that danger with excitement, with joy, right? Because that is, especially when it comes to toxic relationships, you're associating that spark as familiarity, right? Because if you grow up with a toxic upbringing, or you see a toxic relationship, a lot of fighting, putting each other down, then you will go unconsciously into a relationship thinking that it's love, but it's not. It's a toxic relationship that's similar to your upbringing, and you go towards that because you're familiar. Like I said, we're motivated by pain and pleasure, and what we perceive as pleasurable is familiar to us. So even though we see this partner, this behavior, how they treat themselves, how they communicate, how they behave, we see this as all red flags, but we ignore those because, one, we're used to codependency and seeking validation, and two, we are looking at that as familiar, as pleasurable. So that's why we are drawn to relationships that are probably consciously not good for us. But we go to it because that's what's familiar to us. So the only way to break out of that is to condition ourselves to seeing the red flags right away, to see what a healthy, happy relationship looks like, right? And seeing that's setting healthy boundaries, that's being able to communicate, that's being able to express yourself fully, to have emotions, to be supported, to be empowered, uplifted by your partner, your best friend, open, receptive, giving and receiving love. These are all signs of a healthy relationship. And if you have the pattern of getting into codependent toxic relationships because of your upbringing, this is why. It's because this is what you see and this is what's familiar to you. So in the back of your head, subconsciously, it's pleasurable for you. So you have a tendency to attract more toxic relationships. So until you learn your pattern, you're always going to attract these types of relationships. And when we change, we also have to change the belief about relationships and love, because we're confusing this familiarity, this spark, this toxicity as love. And especially if you are raised in a very toxic environment and love to you is one person fleeing, like let's say if one parent was completely closed off and the other parent needed the validation, you're going to look at that as love. So every time you're in a relationship and the person that is insecure tries to flee or seek validation from elsewhere and you're trying to get that validation, you're confusing that as love, because to you, your definition of love is having to prove yourself, having to prove that this person is worthy, or whatever your definition of love is. So it's very important to understand your definition of love. And the way you could do that is this exercise where you write down the word love and the first definition and what it means to you. Like love is happy, love is exciting, love is joyous, and keep going and down until you actually get your beliefs of what a negative love is. So love is pain, love is jealousy, love is cheating, love is hard, or marriage is hard. All these definitions will tell you your beliefs about love, right? And you could also do that with the word relationships. Relationships are hard, men are cheaters, all these different things will tell you your beliefs about love, relationships, and also yourself, and why it gets reinforced in the patterns that we see. So that's a great exercise for you to uncover everything that's going on in your subconscious mind and why you attract certain individuals. It's based on your upbringing, your pattern, and also the definitions that you have for relationships. So this isn't happening spontaneously. You are creating this, okay? And you need to take responsibility that you create your reality and you create the relationships you get in. So as soon as you become aware of your unconscious pattern, it's no longer unconscious, it's a choice, and you get to choose whether or not you want to stop it or continue it. And that's when you're stopping this generational dysfunction. It's no longer your parents' pattern, it's no longer your pattern. Now it's your choice whether or not you want to continue toxic, unhealthy relationships like the ones that you continue to attract. So I hope this video helped as to why we attract the partners we do. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Take care and bye-bye.